Peppa Pig is one of the longest running shows ever, and with every new episode we get, a new mystery arises. And in today's video, we're going to check out these mysteries. One of these mysteries is related to Madame Gazelle. As we already know, many Peppa Pig viewers think that Madame Gazelle is a vampire, and there is a lot of evidence for that. But even more mysterious than Madame Gazelle is her house. Every time we get to see her house, we spot something weird. And in one of the episodes, when the pig family visits Madame Gazelle's house, besides noticing the completely tilted house, we also noticed something really interesting. On the wall of Madame Gazelle's house, we can see a black and white photograph of another gazelle, who is a male. This is most likely Madame Gazelle's husband. As we all know, Madame Gazelle has been around for many years, since she was even a teacher for both Daddy Pig and Mommy Pig. So, the mystery here is, where is her husband? Is he alive? If Madame Gazelle was vampire, then he would also have been one. Maybe he got bored by living with Madame Gazelle for centuries, so he probably went to another country. Whatever the reason may be, everything that has to do with Madame Gazelle is mysterious. Moving on, this one is more of a detail than mystery. Why is Peppa so mean? Most of us have noticed at some point that sometimes Peppa can be really mean. And sometimes, some of the most terrible things in the series are done by Peppa herself. For instance, in the episode The Quarrel, Peppa outright accuses Susie Sheep, who is also her best friend, whom she has known since they were little babies, of cheating at a card game just because Peppa was losing. In other words, she is a spoiled and, above all, spiteful child, even towards her friends. She acts similarly with her family, especially with George being her main victim. For example, she once accused him of faking an illness, and she also threw a giant snowball at George when he was still a baby. And also, in one episode, she didn't let him play with some of her toys despite having so many, and these are only a few instances. So, is Peppa really rude, or is it only once in a while thing? One of the mysteries that made me really think is related to a photograph we see at Grandpa and Granny Pig's house, in the episode where Mummy Pig gives her old computer to her parents. If you don't know, Granny and Grandpa Pig are Mummy Pig's parents and not Daddy Pig's. The fact is that when they enter Grandpa Pig's office to install the computer, we can see a framed photo on one of the furniture pieces, and in it are a taller piglet and a smaller piglet. The detail is that the photo is in black and white, which indicates that this photo is old. And we imagine it could be Mommy Pig herself with her younger brother, whom we haven't met yet. However, in the episode Daddy Pig's Birthday, we see that a copy of this same photo is on his desk. So whose photo is this? Surely not Peppa and George, right? Because the photo is black and white, which means that it was probably taken in the 80s or early 90s. And why do both Grandpa Pig and Daddy Pig have this photo? Seriously, this is really mysterious. And talking about grandparents, where are Daddy Pig's parents? So far in the series, we've not just seen them, but we've never even heard anyone mention them. But why? Some people say that it is because Mummy and Daddy Pig don't have a good relationship with Daddy Pig's parents, so they don't talk to each other. Well, if this is the reason, then we should have at least seen or heard about it in Daddy Pig's brother's house. But no, even Daddy Pig's brother hasn't talked about his parents. So, what's the mystery behind Daddy Pig's parents? Now, let's talk about us in Peppa Pig. By us, I mean humans. Humans' absence in Peppa's universe is extremely mysterious and strange to say the least. Only 3 humans have ever appeared in the show: the Queen, Santa Claus, and the Pirate. So, humans do exist in Peppa's world. But at the same time, the animals have taken over society and can be found in every country. So, what happened to humans? Were they simply banished, or do they have their own country? And if they have, then which country is it? So far, we've seen countries like USA, UK, France, but we have only seen animals living there, not humans. So, where are the humans? A quick Google search tells us Peppa Pig was released in 2004. So, this means for 20 years, Peppa has been 4 years old. Another strange detail about Peppa Pig is the fact that literally Peppa has been 4 years old for 20 years. There are a few theories about this. One theory suggests that each episode represents a day. And since the show has a little over 300 episodes, this would mean that almost a year has passed in Peppa's universe since the show began. However, if we take a closer look, it turns out that there have been 6 Christmases in the series since Peppa Pig began. Since Christmas is celebrated only once a year, we can assume that 6 years have passed since the series started, but this would mean Peppa should be about 10 years old, and George should be 8 years old, which definitely doesn't match what we see in the show. So, are the characters in the show stuck at their ages forever? We've already talked about how Mr. Fox could possibly be a thief, and this time we've got even more evidence for it. We can see several wanted posters of him on the police station's bulletin board. And not just that. In the episode where the children held a fair to fix the school roof, he took everything Emily Elephant was trying to sell without leaving a single penny in exchange. Moreover, he was about to steal Grandpa Pig's chickens when Peppa and George were staying at their grandparents' house. The funniest thing is that in Peppa and Susie's vision of the future, Freddy, Mr. Fox's son, will be a police officer, which is definitely quite ironic. And not just that, another character who is closely linked with Mr. Fox is also really suspicious. And we're talking about Mr. Wolf. It seems like Mr. Wolf might have a wild side, just like Mr. Fox has a desire to steal chickens as real-world foxes do. Mr. Wolf also seems to have some of his natural instincts. For example, he says he's hungry several times when he is alone with Daddy Pig, hinting that he wants to eat Daddy Pig. Additionally, in the episode 3 Bowls of Porridge, we see Mr. Wolf meeting the pig family and stating that he's looking for a place to have lunch. Then we see him leaving Grandma's house, which is a clear reference to Little Red Riding Hood, where the big bad wolf eats Grandma. Seriously, something is definitely going on with Mr. Wolf. Let's talk about a mystery that is really strange. Why does everyone fall when they laugh? As we know, Peppa Pig is a children's animation made for a young audience, even though people of all ages watch it. And when something relatively funny happens in an episode, we see every character in the show always falling to the ground while laughing. And the question is, why? Why do they do this? Maybe in Peppa's world, the animals cannot laugh while standing. But we've seen several scenes where they are laughing while standing. So, the big mystery is, why does everyone need to fall to the ground for us to understand that they are laughing? If you're familiar with Peppa's world, you know that the second most common group of living beings in the series are the vegetables, and they are a big mystery themselves. But the weirdest thing isn't even that. It's the fact that these same vegetables tell the show's kids to eat vegetables, which would be like Daddy and Mommy Pig telling other kids to eat bacon or ham. This would definitely be very, very strange. And just like vegetable telling kids to eat vegetable, there's another weird mystery, and that is animals having barbecue. This is only stranger and more terrible than seeing a group of herbivores, including Mr. Bull and Daddy Pig, having a barbecue. Remember that barbecues usually involve roasting beef and pork? So were they grilling vegetables and eating Mr. Potato's relatives? In either case, it's something really mysterious. So, these were some of the mysteries about Peppa Pig we found. And as always, we'll see you all in the next video.